We're standing here in one of the most beautiful lookouts in Jerusalem. Jerusalem, the heart of the Jewish people, the heart of the world. And as we approach Tisha Be'av, the 9th of Av, one can only think about Jerusalem, the moment that the heart stopped beating, the moment Jerusalem is destroyed. 2 times on Tisha Be'av, our first and second temple are destroyed. Jerusalem is also razed and turned into a pagan capital. It also happens on Tisha Be'av. But there actually are 2 other things that we commemorate on Tisha B'Av, and seemingly they kind of don't match the weight of the destruction of the temples. We mourn the spies, been wandering in the desert, not even wandering yet, we've just left Egypt. The spies go into the land, they come back and tell the people there's no way we can actually succeed in conquering this land. Their faith falters, and the people are punished. And that's the moment that it says that Tisha B'Av will be a day of crying for generations. Okay, it's a pretty bad thing. Then you have the destruction of Jerusalem. But there's this one more thing that we mourn on Tisha B'Av, and it's the fall of Beitar. Now, I'm sure some of you can't even point Beitar out on a map, and maybe have never been to Beitar. Why on earth is that so bad that it's comparable to these other seemingly monstrous and horrendous events? Well, the things are all connected, as they always are. So let's take a journey and understand, what does the fall of Beitar have to teach us today as we approach Tisha B'Av? How is it connected to this beauty, to Jerusalem and the fall of Yerushalayim? And maybe how it all actually stems from the same spies, thousands of years ago, our ancestors in the desert. Come with me on this journey, and let's see what we can learn. Why is Beitar exactly connected, and so much so on Tisha B'Av? Why are we mourning it? Before we can answer that, we have to zoom out a little bit. Behind me on the hills in the distance is Jerusalem. And in the center of Jerusalem, the temple once stood. The temple is destroyed in year 70 under Titus and Vespasian, and the heart of the people is left an open wound. Now, for 60 years, the people are in Jerusalem still and in the vicinity, and they're waiting. They're waiting some bit of hope that maybe one day they'll be able to start rebuilding. They'll be able to start healing. In year 130, Emperor Hadrian comes to visit Jerusalem. Some of the people are actually a little bit excited. Maybe this emperor is going to be the one that will change things. Maybe he'll come and let them rebuild. But then they realize that Hadrian's not there to rebuild. In fact, he's there to do the exact opposite. He's there to bury Jerusalem and build on top of it a pagan city. And in the heart of that pagan city, where the temple once stood, a pagan temple. This is the last straw. Thousands of Jews come from all over to protect Jerusalem with their bodies. And the leader of that movement will be one of the most famous Jewish heroes in history, Shimon Bar Kochva. So in order to understand where this is all going, we're going to go on a journey to what would become the center of the Bar Kokhba revolt. Deep in the hills of the desert, and behind me, you can see a mountain that kind of looks like, I don't know, a volcano. Let's head over there and see what was the Bar Kokhba revolt essentially about. The Bar Kokhba revolt begins. Bar Kokhba becomes a legend beyond imagination. The stories told about his bravery and his strength. There are some sources that say that Bar Kokhba could catch a catapult stone mid-air and throw it back. That his soldiers were so brave that they could uproot a cedar from the Lebanon while on horseback and throw it. People revered him, and he was seen as the last hope, the only man that could truly save the Jewish people, and perhaps flip this horrible, bitter history on its head. Now, we don't really know so much about Bar Kokhba. There's not many writings until 1952, when in the caves in the desert, we found a series of letters that even brought his true name out, Shimon Bar Kochva, leader of Israel. We also see from these letters that he was a fierce and very sometimes even violent general, commander. He had no problem kind of giving it and burning houses down to people who weren't part of the revolt. But at the same time, he loved his soldiers. He even made sure that his soldiers who were in the middle of the desert would have the 4 species, the lulav, etrog, hadassim, and aravot for Sukkot. Things beyond belief. Bar Kokhba leads a revolt that's very unique. He begins guerrilla warfare in Israel, and the Roman armies have no clue what hit them. They're used to their big phalanx, straight lines, walking and marching with their armor. And meanwhile, the Bar Kokhba revolt goes underground into caves just like this. Here in this cave, Bar Kokhba soldiers would wait and fight and lead the Romans into areas near the caves. They would spring out, attack them, and come back into the caves before the Romans even knew what hit them. For years, they destroy huge amounts of the Roman army. Hadrian himself has no clue what to do, that he actually recruits half of the Roman army and brings them to this small province of Judea to try and defeat the Bar Kokhba men. Now, we could say this is a really great story. What a story of bravery, of the small against the many. Kind of reminds us of the Maccabees. The ending isn't such. But in order to understand the end of the story of Beitar and what went wrong, and how does this have to do with Beitar, now we can finally go to Beitar and hear the outcome of the Bar Kokhba revolt and why it was so bitter, and perhaps work backwards to understand where Bar Kokhba went wrong and what we have to learn. But if I'm already in a Bar Kokhba cave, I'm going to crawl out this way and I'll meet you guys in Beitar.